You're seeing this because you are stepping into the greatest comeback of your life. Perhaps you have walked through valleys of shadow, moments when the night seemed endless, when the weight of disappointment pressed upon your chest as though it were your permanent companion. Yet here you are, still breathing, still present, and in that very presence, there is a sign. The universe has whispered to you in subtle ways, in moments you may have overlooked, in the gentle nudges and quiet interruptions of your life. Your time has come. Your awakening is near. Your highest self is calling you forth. And so you are called, you are being summoned, not by circumstance, not by external pressure, but by the inner voice that has never abandoned you, that has waited patiently for you to turn and finally listen. I want you to pause for a moment and feel that voice, deep inside, beyond thought, beyond memory, beyond the stories that you have been telling yourself about what you could or could not do. There is a quiet certainty that whispers, you are enough. You have always been enough. Let that truth settle in. Let it seep into the hidden corners of your mind that have known fear, shame, and doubt. For the first time, perhaps, you are invited to release the notion that you are incomplete, that you are less than what you were meant to be. And in that release, a door opens. The old narrative, the story of struggle, of limitation, of past mistakes, begins to dissolve. It is not that the past did not happen, it did, but its power over you was always an illusion. The past is a teacher, not a jailer. It is a shadow, but shadows cannot exist without light. And that light, my dear friend, is the eternal presence of your soul, the unchanging, undiminishable essence that has never been broken. Every challenge you have faced, every disappointment, every heartbreak, every failure was not punishment. Life is never punitive. It is preparatory. Each tear that fell, each sleepless night, each moment when you doubted yourself was sculpting you, like a master artisan shaping a statue from the raw, unformed stone. You were being prepared for this moment, this resurgence of self, this reclaiming of your divine identity. And now, as you stand at the edge of this awakening, know this. The power to transform is within you. It has always been within you. You are not waiting for life to grant you permission, for success to validate you, or for circumstance to shift. The power to rise, to ascend, to become fully yourself is here in this breath, in this present moment, available to you if you will simply allow it. You see, too often we mistake struggle for deficiency. We tell ourselves, if only I had this, then I would be enough. If only I had that, then I would be healed. But the truth is this, sufficiency is not conditional. You are already whole, already perfect, already equipped to meet whatever life places before you. The ego will whisper otherwise. It will say, you are not ready, you are too small, you are too broken. And yet the ego is a storyteller, not a prophet. It measures life in limitation, not in infinite potential. The soul knows differently. The soul is aware that what has been lost was never truly lost, that what has been broken was only a temporary illusion, and that the divine blueprint within you is intact and calling you forth now. Step into this realization. Let it penetrate every cell, every thought, every habit. Imagine your life as a great river, flowing with an unstoppable force. Every obstacle, every resistance, every dam that once seemed to halt your progress is now being released. The river of your being cannot be contained. It moves according to its own intelligence, its own rhythm, carrying you forward toward your highest potential. And as it flows, it washes away the debris of self-doubt, guilt, and regret. What remains is clarity. What remains is strength. What remains is the unmistakable knowledge that you are aligned with life itself. There is a sacred principle in this awakening, a truth that Wayne Dyer spoke of often, the law of attraction, the principle of intention. When you shift your focus inward, when you recognize your innate divinity, when you release the stories that no longer serve you, the universe responds. Opportunities appear, people arrive, circumstances transform, not because you have controlled them, but because you have become attuned to the frequency of your highest self. This is the essence of your comeback. It is not merely external success. It is a return to wholeness, to authenticity, to the profound knowing that you are already complete. Do not fear the path that brought you here. Do not regret the missteps or the detours. They were essential. Each trial was a teacher. each loss a mirror reflecting what needed to be released. And now, as you prepare to rise, as you prepare to reclaim your life, remember this. Freedom begins the moment you surrender the illusion of control. It begins when you let go of trying to force life into your expectations and allow life to flow through you as it was always intended to. When you surrender, you are not giving up, you are opening. You are creating space for the miraculous, the extraordinary, the divinely orchestrated to manifest in your reality. And so as you stand on the threshold of this comeback, breathe deeply and feel the power within you. It is not external. It does not come from accolades, possessions, or recognition. It comes from the stillness within, from the unshakable knowing that you are a divine being and that every experience, every setback, every challenge has been preparing you for this very moment. Your soul recognizes this truth even if your mind hesitates. Your body remembers this potential even if your emotions tremble. And your heart, oh your heart, has never doubted that it is capable of immense love, of profound courage, and of boundless creativity. Let this awakening be total. Let it permeate your mind, your body, your relationships, your work, your every action. Let it guide you to release resentment, to forgive freely, to embrace compassion, to speak with authenticity, and to walk through the world with the quiet confidence of one who knows their true nature. And as you do, life will respond in ways that are unimaginable from the perspective of fear or limitation. Doors will open that were never visible before. Ideas will emerge, opportunities will arrive, and synchronicities will occur, all aligning with the intentions of your awakened soul. Know that the comeback you are experiencing is not merely a season, it is a transformation. It is a rebirth of your spirit, a recalibration of your consciousness, a reclaiming of the life that has always been waiting for you. It is the recognition that life itself is not happening to you, life is happening through you. And the quality of your life, the depth of your joy, the extent of your peace is directly related to how fully you allow your inner divinity to guide you. So rise with courage, with grace, with unwavering faith. Step into each moment knowing that the past no longer has dominion over you, that the future is a canvas awaiting your conscious creation, and that the present is the gift in which all power resides. This is your moment. This is your awakening. This is the greatest comeback of your life, and it begins not in the outer world, but in the luminous expanse of your own soul. And as you move forward, remember these words: you are not broken, you are being rebuilt. Life is not punishing you, it is positioning you. Your setbacks were the preparation, your struggles were the refining, and now your spirit, your essence, your eternal self stands ready to step fully into the life you were always meant to lead. Trust it, trust yourself, trust the infinite intelligence that has never abandoned you, that has orchestrated every moment to bring you to this perfect point in time. Your comeback is not measured by applause, by accolades, or by external validation. It is measured by the depth of your awakening, by the expansion of your consciousness, by the freedom with which you now move through the world. Your soul knows this. It always knew. And now, at last, you know it too. Rise, beloved soul. Rise into the fullness of your being. The world awaits the brilliance, the compassion, the divinity that only you can bring. Step forward without fear, without doubt, without hesitation. You are ready. You are whole. You are magnificent. You are divine. And the greatest chapter of your life has only just begun. Feel the aliveness within you, the quiet yet unstoppable energy that has always been present, even when life seemed to obscure it. That energy is your essence, your divine spark, your true self that cannot be harmed, cannot be diminished, cannot be contained by circumstance or opinion. Every time you doubted your worth, every time you whispered to yourself that you could not rise, that very spark was there, patiently waiting for you to remember. And now, in this moment, you are remembering, you are awakening. You are choosing to allow the light of your inner being to illuminate every corner of your existence. Do not underestimate the significance of this choice. To awaken is not a trivial act. It is the conscious alignment with the eternal, with that which is infinite, with the source from which all life flows. It is the recognition that you are not separate from the vast intelligence that orchestrates the stars, the rivers, the seasons, and the very rhythm of your heartbeat. When you live as though you are connected to this source, when you allow it to guide your actions, your thoughts, and your intentions, the world transforms around you. Mountains shift, barriers dissolve. The impossible becomes possible not through effort alone, but through conscious participation with the divine intelligence that moves through you. Understand, too, that your comeback is not a return to who you were, but a rising into who you were always meant to be. Life has been dismantling the illusions, stripping away the masks, revealing the truths that have been hidden beneath layers of conditioning, expectation, and fear. This is not a time for clinging to what is familiar. This is a time for surrender, a time to allow the old to fall away so that the new, the authentic, the divinely inspired you can emerge fully. It is in this shedding, in this sacred release, that true freedom is found. And freedom is not something that can be sought externally, it is realized internally. The more you look outside yourself for validation, for affirmation, for permission, the more you remain entangled in illusions that have no power in truth. The power, the liberation, the transformation you seek is already within you. It resides in your mind, in your heart, in the quiet, knowing that you are complete, that you are whole, that you are infinitely capable. Your soul has always known this. Now it is your turn to acknowledge it, to step into it, and to allow it to guide every breath, every choice, every action. Let go of resistance. Let go of the expectation that life must conform to your designs, and instead allow your life to be guided by the intelligence that knows more than you ever could. There is a profound peace in this surrender, a serenity that surpasses understanding, and it is from this place that the greatest breakthroughs, the deepest joys, and the most transformative comebacks emerge. When you release control, you open space for miracles, synchronicities, and solutions that you could never have conceived in your limited mind. Remember, too, that the ego will attempt to distract you, to convince you that you are not ready, that you are too small, that you are too flawed. Do not listen. The ego is a product of fear, a construct that measures worth by comparison and limitation. The soul knows differently. The soul knows that you are expansive, limitless, and aligned with a source that has never faltered. When you listen to the soul instead of the ego, you begin to see life as it truly is, abundant, expansive, purposeful, and full of infinite possibility. This is your awakening. This is your comeback. Every hardship, every setback, every moment of despair has been a teacher, a sculptor, a guide. Now, as you embrace this new chapter, as you step into your highest self, you begin to realize that the comeback is not measured by what you achieve, but by the depth of your alignment, the breadth of your courage, and the fullness with which you embrace your own divinity. So rise with intention, rise with clarity, rise with the unwavering certainty that the best is yet to come, not because it must, but because you are choosing it. Choose to release the past, to forgive what needs forgiveness, to let go of resentment, and to embrace compassion for yourself and for others. In doing so, you open the door to experiences that align with the highest truth of your being. The universe, which has been patiently waiting, responds to this alignment, reflecting back to you the love, the abundance, and the fulfillment that have always been your birthright. Feel the power within. Feel it in your chest, in your belly, in the very core of your being. It is unstoppable, unshakable, eternal. And as you step forward into your comeback, remember that life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. You are the conscious co-creator of your reality, and every thought, every feeling, every intention matters. Your comeback is a manifestation of this truth, the living proof that when you align with your soul, when you embrace your divinity, and when you trust the intelligence of life itself, extraordinary transformation occurs. So walk boldly, speak with authenticity, love without restraint, create with joy, live with freedom. Your time has arrived. Your awakening is unfolding. The comeback that you have longed for, that your soul has been preparing for through trials and triumphs alike, is here. It is not a distant dream, nor a conditional promise. It is a present reality, and it begins in this moment with the simple yet profound act of remembering who you are, of aligning with the divine within, and of choosing to step fully into the life that has always been waiting for you. You are seeing this because your soul has chosen this moment, because you are stepping into the most profound comeback of your life. Perhaps for a long time you have wondered if the storms you endured were unfair, if the losses, the disappointments, the betrayals, and the moments of loneliness meant that you were broken beyond repair. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still feeling, still yearning, still alive. And in that very aliveness is the first signal: life is not done with you. Life has been quietly, patiently, and lovingly preparing you for a return that is more magnificent than anything you have imagined. Every scar you carry, every tear you have shed, every thought that whispered you were too small, too flawed, too late, all of it has been necessary. The universe has used every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment of despair as a chisel to sculpt the masterpiece of who you are meant to become. And now, that sculpting is complete. Not because you are perfect, not because life has treated you ideally, but because perfection resides not in circumstance, but in the awareness of your own divinity. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. You are being reawakened. And the comeback you are stepping into is not merely a recovery, it is a rebirth. Consider this: life is not happening to you, life is happening through you. Every experience, every struggle, every success is not a sentence to endure, but a message to understand, a lesson to integrate, a path to transcend. When you begin to see life through this lens, when you recognize that the universe conspires not against you but for you, everything changes. Suddenly, the past loses its power. The doubts that once paralyzed you become mere echoes. The fears that once gripped your heart dissolve like morning mist beneath the rising sun. You step into a space where nothing outside of you has the authority to define your worth, your potential, or your joy. And so, rise. Rise not with hesitation, rise not with doubt, rise not with the weight of old regrets pressing you down. Rise with intention, with awareness, with the quiet but unshakable certainty that you are exactly where you are meant to be, doing exactly what you are meant to be doing, becoming exactly who you are meant to be becoming. The path that brought you here, the pain, the setbacks, the missed opportunities were never detours. They were the classroom of your soul. Every obstacle, every rejection, every failure was a mirror reflecting the parts of you that needed to be healed, the lessons your soul required, the truths that had to be realized. Now, as you awaken to this, you must understand one essential truth: you are enough. You have always been enough. No accomplishment, no possession, no recognition will ever add to your wholeness, because your wholeness is inherent. It is eternal. It cannot be taken away. It cannot be lost. It is a truth your soul has carried across lifetimes, through experiences, through every twist and turn, patiently awaiting your recognition. And here it is, at last. You are being reminded. You are being called. You are being invited to remember. So breathe deeply and feel the power within you. Feel it not as a distant hope, not as a possibility, but as a present reality. It is in this energy that your greatest comeback unfolds. Let it fill every cell, every thought, every intention. Let it guide your actions, your words, your choices. For when you operate from this place aligned, conscious, aware, you become a magnet for the life you were always meant to live. Opportunities flow to you effortlessly. Relationships bloom with ease and authenticity. Your work becomes inspired. Your life becomes a reflection of your soul, not your ego. And do not fear this awakening. Do not fear the power within you, the brilliance you are reclaiming. The ego will attempt to distract you, to convince you that this is too much, too soon, too unlikely. It will say, you cannot sustain this. You do not deserve this. You will fail. But listen instead to the quiet, unwavering voice of your soul. It whispers, you are ready. You have always been ready. Step into the fullness of your being. That voice is the voice of life itself, the eternal intelligence that orchestrates every star, every wave, every heartbeat, every breath. Align with it, and you cannot be stopped. Consider the river as a metaphor. The river does not struggle against the stones in its path, it flows around them. It does not judge the obstacles, it simply moves forward, carving its way, creating beauty, leaving its mark on the world. Be like the river. Flow through your challenges. Move with grace around every difficulty. Trust the intelligence within and allow life to carry you to places that your mind cannot yet imagine. This is the rhythm of your comeback. Not resistance, but surrender. Not struggle, but alignment. Not fear, but trust. And yet, to fully step into this comeback, you must release the old. You must forgive. Forgive those who have hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you think you cannot recover from, for the moments you feel were lost forever. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is strength. It is the clearing of space so that abundance, joy, and love can enter. It is the foundation upon which your new life is built. Without it, the soul cannot soar. With it, the impossible becomes inevitable. Feel now, for a moment, the love that surrounds you, not the conditional love of the world, but the unconditional love of existence itself, flowing through you, into you, around you. Let it infuse your being. Let it dissolve fear. Let it dissolve doubt. Let it dissolve the stories that have kept you small, that have kept you waiting. This love is the engine of your comeback. It is the force that restores, that empowers, that transforms. It is the essence of who you truly are. And as you awaken, as you rise, as you reclaim your life, remember this: success is not measured by what you accumulate. It is measured by how fully you live, by how authentically you embody your soul, by how courageously you step into the light even when shadows remain. Your comeback is not external, it is internal. It is the mastery of self, the liberation of spirit, the realization that you are divine, eternal, whole, and more powerful than you have ever allowed yourself to believe. So rise, beloved soul. Step forward with courage, with clarity, with intention. The world awaits the brilliance that only you can bring. The universe is ready to respond to your awakening. And your spirit, your essence, your divine self stands ready to lead, to shine, to love, to create, to heal, to inspire. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are being rebuilt. And the greatest comeback of your life begins now. And now, as you stand fully within this moment, feel the quiet majesty of your own presence. Feel the infinite horizon of possibility stretching before you, the unseen currents of life moving in perfect rhythm, carrying you toward the destiny your soul has always known. There is no hurry, no need to rush. Time is but a construct, a gentle illusion, and yet your awakening is happening in real time, here and now, within the sacred sanctuary of your own consciousness. Breathe and feel the expansiveness of your being. Breathe and let every cell, every fiber, every heartbeat remember what it has always known, that you are whole, that you are luminous, that you are loved beyond measure, that you are a living expression of the infinite. Release now the final remnants of doubt that cling to you, the old stories that whisper limitations. They were never truths, only shadows cast by fear, by habit, by the insistence of the mind to define you in ways that diminish your brilliance. Let them fall like autumn leaves, carried away by the gentle wind of awareness. There is no need to hold on. You are free. You have always been free. The essence of your being is uncontainable, unstoppable, and eternal. Step into this freedom and let it guide your steps, your thoughts, your words, your intentions. For when you move from freedom, life responds with abundance, with grace, with synchronicity. Remember that this comeback is not a fleeting moment of triumph. It is a transformation of the soul, a recalibration of the heart, a recognition of the divinity that courses through you. You are not defined by what has happened, nor by what is yet to come. You are defined by the eternal now, by the consciousness that observes, that perceives, that chooses to align with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of life. Each breath you take, each step you make, each choice you embrace is a testament to the strength, the courage, and the magnificence of your awakened self. Feel the love that envelops you now, not as an abstract idea, but as a living, breathing presence flowing through every part of you, healing, restoring, illuminating. It is the love that has always been, the love that has patiently awaited your recognition, the love that animates the universe and moves through you with perfect, unerring precision. Let it wash over every wound, dissolve every fear, ignite every possibility. Let it remind you that there is nothing outside yourself that can give you more than you already possess within. You are the reservoir of abundance, the wellspring of joy, the eternal light that cannot be extinguished. And so rise fully into this truth. Rise without hesitation. Rise with courage, with intention, with unwavering faith. Walk through the world with the knowledge that you are co-creating your reality with each thought, each word, each breath. Your comeback is complete not when the world acknowledges it, not when others see it, but when you live it fully, authentically, divinely. This is the measure of your triumph. the reclamation of self, the embodiment of soul, the conscious alignment with the infinite. Let your spirit move with grace. Let your mind rest in clarity. Let your heart beat in freedom. You are no longer bound by fear, by doubt, by the stories that once defined you. You are reborn in consciousness, awakened in awareness, restored in the knowledge of your own divine nature. And as you continue forward, know that every moment is yours to shape. Every opportunity is yours to embrace. Every breath is a gift from the intelligence that has always been with you, guiding you, loving you, positioning you for this, the most magnificent chapter of your life. So step into it fully, step into it boldly, step into it with the quiet, radiant confidence of one who knows they are already enough, already whole, already complete. You are the living expression of infinite possibility. You are the embodiment of divine power. You are the luminous being who has been called forth from the shadows of limitation into the brilliance of awakening. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your comeback, eternal and unending, flowing through you as you forevermore. There comes a moment in every life when the noise grows tired of itself, when the endless commentary of the mind finally pauses long enough for something quieter, truer, and infinitely more loving to be heard. This is that moment. Not because circumstances have suddenly become perfect, but because you have ripened into readiness. You have walked through enough days of striving and nights of wondering to recognize the futility of searching outside yourself for what has always lived within. And now, in this stillness, you can feel it, the gentle insistence of your own soul, reminding you that you are not broken, not late, not missing anything essential. You are being invited to remember. The invitation is simple, though the ego will insist it is complicated. It asks you to stop arguing with life, to loosen the grip of control that has exhausted you, and to rest into the awareness that there is an intelligence moving through you that has never once made a mistake. This intelligence does not shout. It does not threaten. It does not shame or rush you. It waits patiently, like a loving parent who knows that the child will eventually look up and recognize the guidance that has been there all along. When you stop fighting the present moment, when you stop rehearsing the past or bargaining with the future, you step into alignment with this presence. And in that alignment, clarity arrives without effort. You may have been taught that guidance from God is something external, descending from the sky at rare and dramatic moments, reserved for saints or mystics or those who somehow earn special favor. But the truth is far more intimate and far more accessible. Divine guidance is not separate from you. It moves as you. It thinks through you when your thoughts are aligned with love. It acts through you when you release the need to dominate outcomes. It feels like ease, like resonance, like a quiet yes in the body that requires no justification. When you learn to trust this feeling, you discover that you have been guided your entire life, even in moments you once labeled as mistakes. The ego, of course, resists this knowing. The ego thrives on the illusion of separation. It tells you that you are alone, that you must compete, that you must prove your worth through accumulation, achievement, and comparison. It convinces you that peace is conditional and happiness is something to be earned later, after you fix yourself, after you succeed, after you become someone else. But the soul speaks a different language. The soul says, you are enough now. It says, nothing real is missing. It says, you were whole before you had a name, and you will remain whole long after the roles you play fall away. When you identify with the ego, life feels heavy. Every interaction becomes a transaction. Every challenge feels personal. Every delay feels like a verdict on your value. But when you remember who you truly are, life softens. You begin to see that events are not happening to you, but for you, shaping you, refining you, guiding you back to your own truth. The same situation that once triggered fear now becomes a classroom. The same obstacle that once felt like punishment now reveals itself as redirection. This is not positive thinking. This is alignment with reality as it actually is. There is a profound freedom that arises when you let go of the story that you must control everything to be safe. Control is the ego's attempt to substitute force for trust. Trust, on the other hand, is the soul's recognition that it is held by something infinitely wiser than the thinking mind. Trust does not mean passivity. It means inspired action. It means listening before reacting. It means allowing intuition to lead while the intellect serves rather than dominates. When you operate from this place, decisions become simpler. Not easier in the sense of effort-free, but cleaner, less conflicted, more coherent. You may notice that when you are aligned, resistance dissolves. You still work, but the work flows. You still speak, but your words land with kindness and clarity. You still face uncertainty, but it no longer terrifies you. This is because you are no longer asking life to validate you. You are participating in life as an expression of something already validated by its own existence. A tree does not ask permission to grow. A river does not apologize for flowing. Neither do you need to justify your being. You are here because life itself chose to experience itself as you. There is a sacred intelligence in your emotions too when you learn to listen without judgment. Feelings are not obstacles to enlightenment. They are messengers. They point you toward alignment or away from it. When you feel contracted, anxious, resentful, or depleted, it is not a sign that you are failing. It is feedback that your thoughts have drifted away from truth. When you feel expansive, peaceful, loving, or quietly joyful, it is evidence that you are in harmony with your deeper nature. The practice is not to suppress feelings, but to follow them back to the beliefs that created them, and then gently release what no longer serves. One of the most liberating realizations on this path is the understanding that there are no justified resentments. This does not mean that harm did not occur or that boundaries are unnecessary. It means that carrying resentment only binds you to the very pain you wish to escape. Forgiveness, in its truest form, is not about condoning behavior. It is about reclaiming your energy. It is the decision to stop letting the past rent space in your present. When you forgive, you are not saying what happened was acceptable. You are saying, I choose peace over perpetual conflict. And peace, once chosen, becomes a way of being rather than a fleeting emotion. As you practice forgiveness, something extraordinary happens. The heart, once guarded, begins to soften. The nervous system, once braced for attack, begins to relax. The mind, once obsessed with fairness and blame, begins to open to compassion. You start to see that everyone is acting from their own level of consciousness, doing the best they can with the awareness they have. This does not make you superior, it makes you free. You are no longer required to carry the burden of other people's unconsciousness. You are free to respond from love or to walk away without hatred. Living in the now is not a spiritual slogan. It is a practical necessity for inner freedom. The present moment is the only place where life actually occurs. The past exists as memory, the future as imagination, but the now is where breath happens, where awareness lives, where guidance is accessible. When you bring your attention fully into this moment, even ordinary activities become infused with meaning. Washing dishes becomes meditation. Listening becomes communion. Walking becomes prayer. You realize that spirituality is not something you do on special occasions. It is the quality of presence you bring to whatever is in front of you. In this presence, intuition becomes unmistakable. It does not argue or demand. It simply knows. You may feel it as a subtle pull, a sense of resonance, a quiet certainty that does not need applause. The more you honor it, the clearer it becomes. The more you ignore it, the louder the ego grows. But even then, intuition never leaves. It waits, patient and compassionate, until you are willing to listen again. And listening, truly listening, is an act of humility. It is the willingness to admit that the mind does not have all the answers and that wisdom can arise from silence. You are not here to become someone else. You are here to unbecome everything you are not. Every layer of conditioning you release brings you closer to the essence that has always been intact. This essence is love, not as sentimentality, but as the fundamental creative force of the universe. Love as coherence. Love as intelligence. Love as the organizing principle that turns chaos into order and fear into curiosity. When you align with this love, your life becomes a demonstration rather than a declaration. You no longer need to convince anyone of anything. Your presence speaks for itself. As you rest into this truth, you may notice a shift in how you relate to goals and desires. They no longer feel like desperate attempts to fill a void. They become expressions of curiosity, creativity, and contribution. You still set intentions, but you hold them lightly. You act, but you are not attached to outcomes. You understand that fulfillment does not come from getting what you want, but from wanting what aligns with who you truly are. And when alignment is present, Life has a way of arranging details with elegance you could never orchestrate through force. This is what it means to be ready. Ready to stop chasing and start allowing. Ready to release the illusion that salvation lies somewhere else, in some future version of yourself. Ready to trust that the guidance you seek has been guiding you all along. Tonight, in this quiet recognition, something shifts, not because you made it happen, but because you stopped interfering with what was already happening. You remember that you are not a fragment in a hostile world, but a vital expression of a benevolent whole. Let this knowing settle into your bones. Let it inform your choices, soften your reactions, and expand your compassion. When doubt arises, return to the breath. When fear whispers, listen deeper. When life feels uncertain, anchor yourself in the awareness that you are supported by an intelligence that does not sleep. You are finally ready, not because you have perfected yourself, but because you have learned to listen. And in that listening, you discover the greatest truth of all. The voice you have been waiting for has always been your own, speaking in the language of love, guiding you home. And as you rest in that recognition, you begin to sense something even subtler taking place beneath the surface of thought, a gentle reordering, like the settling of water after it has been stirred for too long. This is the moment when striving loosens its grip and being takes its rightful place. You are no longer pushing yourself toward life. Life is drawing you inward into harmony. There is a quiet relief in realizing that you were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. The universe is self-sustaining. Your task has never been to manage it, only to align with it. From this alignment comes a new way of seeing. You notice how often you once measured yourself against imagined standards, chasing approval, fearing disapproval, outsourcing your sense of worth to the opinions of others. Now, those measures begin to feel irrelevant, like rules from a game you no longer play. You understand that approval seeking is simply love misunderstood, a longing to remember connection in a world that taught you separation. When you reconnect with your own inner source, the hunger for external validation fades naturally. You are no longer asking, "Am I enough?" You are living from the quiet certainty that you always have been. In this state, compassion deepens, not as a moral obligation, but as a natural response to understanding. You see that every person you encounter is navigating their own inner weather, responding from their own level of awareness. Judgment softens because you recognize its roots in fear. You begin to listen more than you speak, not because you have nothing to say, but because presence itself has become your language. In your listening, others feel seen. In your calm, others feel permission to rest. Without effort, you become a space where healing can occur. Even your relationship with challenges transforms. Difficult moments no longer arrive as enemies to be defeated, but as invitations to remember who you are in the midst of them. You notice that peace is not the absence of difficulty, it is the absence of inner resistance to what is. When you stop arguing with reality, suffering loosens its hold. Pain may still arise, the body feels, the heart feels, but suffering, which is pain multiplied by resistance, begins to dissolve. You discover that you can meet discomfort with curiosity instead of fear, and in doing so, it often reveals its lesson and moves on. There is a growing intimacy with silence now. Silence no longer feels empty or awkward. It feels alive, intelligent, full. In silence, you are not waiting for something to happen. You are participating in what is always happening. This is where insight arrives without effort, where solutions appear without strain, where creativity flows without forcing. Silence becomes a trusted companion, a reminder that wisdom does not require noise to announce itself. The more you return here, the more familiar it becomes, until it feels like home. From this home within, your actions take on a different quality. You may still be busy, still engaged in the world, still fulfilling responsibilities, but there is less friction. You act from inspiration rather than obligation. You choose from alignment rather than fear. You find yourself saying no without guilt and yes without resentment. Life becomes less about proving and more about expressing. What you do is no longer an attempt to secure your identity, it is a reflection of it. You may notice, too, that gratitude arises spontaneously, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present enough to notice what is already here. Gratitude is no longer a practice you force. It is a state that emerges when comparison falls away. When you stop measuring this moment against some imagined better one, appreciation flows naturally. You see beauty in small things, a breath, a gesture, a shaft of light, and these moments begin to feel abundant rather than ordinary. Life, once rushed through, now meets you where you are. As this awareness stabilizes, fear loses its authority. Fear may still visit, but it no longer commands. You recognize it as a signal, not a truth, a sign that attention has drifted away from love. Instead of obeying fear, you meet it with understanding. You listen to what it is trying to protect, and then you gently remind it that you are not alone, that you are guided, that you are supported by something larger than any single outcome. In this reassurance, fear relaxes, and courage emerges, not as bravado, but as trust. Trust becomes the foundation of your life now. Trust in timing, trust in intuition, trust in the unfolding. You begin to sense that nothing is late and nothing is early. Each experience arrives precisely when it can be integrated, when it can serve growth rather than overwhelm. This trust frees you from the urgency that once drove you. You stop chasing moments and start inhabiting them. You stop demanding certainty and start appreciating mystery. And in this openness, life reveals itself with a generosity that surprises you. What is unfolding here is not an escape from humanity, but a deeper entry into it. You are not transcending the world. You are learning to meet it without armor. Vulnerability becomes strength because you are no longer protecting a fragile identity. You are rooted in something unshakable. Love flows through you not because you force it, but because nothing is blocking it anymore. You realize that your presence, calm, grounded, awake, is your greatest contribution. Without preaching or persuading, you remind others of what they, too, carry within. And so the message continues, not as words imposed from outside, but as a living current moving through your awareness. It asks nothing of you except honesty and openness. It does not demand perfection, only presence. Each moment becomes an opportunity to choose alignment again, to return to the center, to listen rather than react. This is not a destination you arrive at once and for all. It is a relationship you nurture, breath by breath, choice by choice. Stay here now. Feel the simplicity of being. Notice how little is required for peace when you stop resisting yourself. Let this understanding move with you into whatever comes next, not as a concept to remember, but as a way of seeing, a way of living, a quiet confidence that wherever you go, the guidance you trust goes with you because it has never been separate from who you are. And as you continue resting in this awareness, you may sense a tenderness rising, an unexpected gentleness toward yourself. It is the tenderness that comes when you finally stop demanding that you be different from what you are in this moment. The inner critic, once so loud and persuasive, begins to lose its audience. You see it now as a habit, not a truth. You recognize that harshness toward yourself was never discipline, it was misunderstanding. And in that recognition, something loosens. You begin to speak to yourself with the same patience you would offer a frightened child, the same kindness you would give to someone you deeply love. This kindness is not indulgence, it is clarity. It allows you to see where growth is needed without turning growth into punishment. You can acknowledge patterns that no longer serve you without shaming yourself for having them. You can change direction without declaring yourself a failure for having taken the long way around. Life stops feeling like a test. You are constantly at risk of failing and begins to feel like a conversation, one in which every response, even the awkward ones, teaches you how to listen more deeply. With this shift, time itself seems to change texture. You notice fewer moments of rushing and more moments of arriving. Even when circumstances require speed, there is an inner steadiness that does not hurry. You are learning that urgency is often a mask for fear, and that true effectiveness arises from presence. When you are fully here, your actions carry weight without strain. You do less, yet what you do matters more. Effort is replaced by intention, and intention by alignment. You may find that old identities begin to fall away quietly. Roles you once clung to for security, being the strong one, the fixer, the achiever, the pleaser, no longer feel necessary. You are not abandoning responsibility, you are releasing performance. You realize that love does not require a costume. Authenticity becomes less about expressing everything and more about hiding nothing. You allow yourself to be seen as you are, imperfect, evolving, real. And in that honesty, connection deepens. There is also a new relationship with uncertainty. What once felt threatening now feels spacious. You understand that not knowing is not a flaw in the process, it is the process. Mystery is no longer something to be solved, but something to be trusted. When answers do not arrive immediately, you resist the urge to force conclusions. You allow understanding to unfold in its own time, knowing that clarity rushed is often clarity distorted. Patience becomes a form of wisdom. As this wisdom integrates, you notice how naturally service arises, not as self-sacrifice, but as overflow. When you are connected to your inner source, giving does not deplete you, it energizes you. You give from wholeness, not from obligation. Whether through a word, a presence, or a simple act of kindness, your contribution feels effortless because it is an expression of who you are rather than a strategy to become someone. You begin to trust that your life, lived in alignment, is already enough of a gift. Even solitude takes on a different meaning. Being alone no longer feels like absence. It feels like intimacy. You enjoy your own company because you are no longer at war with your thoughts or emotions. Silence becomes nourishing. Reflection becomes restorative. And from this grounded solitude, relationships flourish, not because you need them to complete you, but because you choose them to share the fullness you already carry. There is a deepening reverence now for the ordinary. You realize that awakening is not marked by fireworks or constant bliss, but by a steady appreciation for what is. You find sacredness in routine, meaning in simplicity, grace in repetition. Life does not need to be extraordinary to be meaningful. It only needs to be met with awareness. In this meeting, even the most familiar moments reveal a quiet beauty you once overlooked. And when difficulties arise, as they will, you meet them differently. You pause before reacting. You breathe before speaking. You listen for the deeper question beneath the surface problem. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you find yourself asking, "What is this inviting me to see?" This shift in inquiry changes everything. It turns obstacles into teachers and setbacks into guidance. You are no longer resisting life's curriculum, you are participating in it consciously. All of this is happening not because you have acquired something new, but because you have remembered something ancient. You are remembering how to trust yourself, how to listen inwardly, how to cooperate with the intelligence that animates everything. This remembrance does not remove you from the world, it roots you more deeply in it. You walk with a quieter confidence now, one that does not need to announce itself. You know where your guidance comes from, and you honor it by following it gently, faithfully, one moment at a time. Remain with this knowing. Let it continue to unfold without forcing conclusions or seeking closure. This is not a story with an ending. It is a way of being that keeps revealing itself. Each breath is an invitation to return, each moment a chance to choose alignment again. And as you move forward, carry this with you, not as an idea to defend, but as a presence to live. You are listening now, you are open now, and that is enough for everything that comes next. And now, without effort, without announcement, the journey settles into a quiet completion that feels less like an ending and more like a gentle return. You sense it in the body first, a softening, an exhale you did not realize you had been holding for years. Nothing dramatic occurs, yet everything is different. You are no longer reaching for life from the outside, you are living it from the inside out. The search that once defined you dissolves, not because answers have been accumulated, but because the question itself has fallen away. You recognize that what you once called guidance was never absent, it was simply obscured by noise. And now, in this clarity, you understand that God's message has never been about instructions etched in stone or demands spoken in thunder. It has always been a frequency, quiet, steady, loving, available, the moment you chose to listen rather than resist. This message does not tell you who to become. It reminds you of who you already are. It does not push you forward. It draws you inward, where truth waits patiently. There is a deep peace in realizing that nothing essential needs to be added to you. You do not need to improve your worth, defend your existence, or justify your place here. You belong by virtue of being. Life itself has endorsed you by giving you breath. When this truth lands fully, striving gives way to trust, and trust gives way to a gentle joy that does not depend on circumstances. You may still have preferences, dreams, intentions, but they no longer carry the weight of your identity. You are free to want without needing, to hope without clinging. In this freedom, you begin to sense how seamlessly you fit into the larger rhythm of things. You are not separate from the unfolding, you are an expression of it. Just as the ocean moves through every wave, the same intelligence moves through your thoughts, your impulses, your creativity. When you stop resisting that movement, life feels guided rather than forced. Decisions arise naturally. Next steps reveal themselves quietly. You find that you are being led not towards something distant, but deeper into alignment with what is already present. Love, too, changes form. It is no longer something you seek or withhold. It becomes the atmosphere you live in. You love not because it is required, but because it is natural. You forgive not because it is virtuous, but because it is freeing. You listen not to agree or disagree, but to understand. And in this way, your very presence becomes a quiet benediction. You are no longer trying to heal the world. You are allowing the world to be touched by the peace you have made with yourself. As you move through your days, you may notice moments when the old patterns attempt to return, moments of doubt, impatience, or fear. When they arise, you do not judge them or push them away. You simply notice, breathe, and remember. You remember that you are not your thoughts. You remember that awareness is larger than any passing emotion. You remember that alignment is always one gentle choice away. And in that remembering, you return again effortlessly to center. This is the shift that changes everything, not a sudden transformation of the outer world, but a quiet revolution within. From here, life continues much as it always has, yet you experience it differently. You walk more slowly, even when you move quickly. You speak more softly, even when you are clear. You live more simply, even when your life is full. There is less to prove, less to defend, less to fear. What remains is presence, gratitude, and a deep trust in the intelligence that carries you. And so, as this message settles into silence, let it do what it was always meant to do, disappear into lived experience. Do not try to hold it. Do not try to remember every word. Let it become part of how you breathe, how you listen, how you choose. The truth does not need to be memorized, it needs to be embodied. Wherever you go from here, carry this knowing lightly, like a quiet light within, guiding without effort. You are finally ready, not because you have reached a destination, but because you have come home to yourself. And from this place, life unfolds not as a struggle to be survived, but as a sacred movement to be trusted. Stay open, stay present, stay kind to yourself. The voice you are listening to now will never leave you, because it is the voice of the life that has always been living you.